addition to being an award-winning journalist, community activist, and change agent, Earl Morgan was an important anchor and contributor in the upcoming documentary, 26 Blocks, A Community Struggle for Inclusion. This media tribute are excerpts from an interview on March 13, 2018, where Earl Morgan spoke about his life and legacy.
I'm a newspaper reporter, and I can tell you that my thing, if you ask me if the glass on the table is half full or half empty, I'll tell you there's a glass on the table with water in it. That's the way I look at it. So I was born in the Margaret Haig Maternity Hospital on Howard Place. It was considered at that time the best maternity hospital in the world. And it was very, very good. And everybody I know was born there, with some rare exceptions. I lived on Belmont Avenue, which was right around the corner from Howard Place. And I only live a block away from there now. I haven't gone far. And I was born to, my father was a boxer who eventually gave that up and went to work on the railroad. And the railroads were everything to Jersey City. My family brought me home to Belmont Avenue, and we moved around a lot. Like black people will want to do that. We moved around a lot. I lived in several other locations, Bramhall Avenue, Clinton Avenue, but we ended up, for most of my life, living on Communipaw between Bergen and Kennedy Boulevard on Communipaw Avenue. Interesting neighborhood. It was rather integrated because at one point all of this was white, and you know, like as usual, the white flight began to happen and they all moved away. But I had many white friends on my block, and I learned a lot from them. When I was a kid in grammar school during the Korean conflict, they don't call it a war because nobody ever declared war. Nobody ever does anymore. But I wanted to, my ambition was to fly a Sabre jet in the U.S. Air Force. That's what I wanted to do. Built a lot of model planes, studied a lot about them, was, you know, intensely interested in that. So, and that was when I was in the 5th or 6th grade, long before high school. The interesting thing that I have to say about that was education. Now, I lived on Communipaw close to Bergen Avenue. When my mother took me to 12 school, which was, 4 blocks away, they said I wasn't in the district, because I was across the street on the south side of Communipaw. They said I had to go to 24 school. Where 12 school was maybe 4 blocks away, 24 school was a quarter of a mile away. And what I realized at some point in my life, looking back at it, I realized that something was wrong. Because all the black kids on my side of the street went to 24 school. However, all my white friends on my side of the street went to 12 school. I was a Boy Scout in a Jewish, in a synagogue around the corner from me. I was the only Cub Scout there, and one of 2 or 3, really just 2 or 3 black Boy Scouts. All those people came because I was in it, and they wanted to be in the Scouts. And they lived on a place called between Gifford and Bentley Avenues and Harrison Avenues. On those 2 blocks were called Doctors Row. All the buildings at a certain point belonged to doctors. I mean, these were huge, monstrous houses. I remember going to a Cub Scout den meeting around the corner from Temple Bethel at Norman Dershowitz's house. No relation to the Dershowitz you're thinking of. he just happened to be Jewish and named Dershowitz. And I remember ringing the bell on his front porch, and his mother, they were all red-headed Jews, which I had never seen before. And Mrs. Dershowitz came to the door and said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Well, is Norman home, 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 home?" She said, "Yeah, you're an echo in the house." But after Lincoln, when I was in Lincoln, I remember I was on the fencing team. Now, I still get questions about that because people will tell me that black people don't fence. Well, when I was on the fencing team in Lincoln High School, the whole first string was black, and we were the city champs. But I might go back and fence from a wheelchair, but I became very, very good at it. When I was in Lincoln, I was asked to write a story by my advanced English teacher, and I wrote a story about 2 hours before I had to turn it in. That's my MO. I turned it in, and she liked it so much, she had it published in the Lincoln Leader, which was our school paper. That was the first time I was ever published anywhere. I didn't think too much about being a writer. I wanted to be an aeronautical engineer by that time. I went through several things. Nuclear physicist, aeronautical engineer. Obviously, I didn't get to be any of those things. Then I started getting into hard news then. I found out that the music business, which was run by a lot of mafia people, gave me a pretty good grounding on how the real world works. And Jersey City politics, if you're born in Jersey City, you will know politics, whether you understand that you know it or not. It's in your mother's milk. It's because it's a hyper-political atmosphere here. So I was pretty good at writing hard news stories about Hudson County politics, Jersey City politics. I haven't even thought of that. I haven't ever given that a thought. I don't know. I don't care. I did what I did, and if people liked it, fine. If they didn't, they didn't. I'd still do it the same way all over again.
What would you say would be the most important thing that you've done?
Shining a light on the politics in Jersey City. Whether or not I change anything, that's what my job was. You know, I don't believe that I changed much of anything. I just tried. And I told it the truth as I saw it at the time. And I think I tried to be as good a journalist as I possibly could. It's kind of hard not to, because in this city, the stories just pile up. They come through the transom and smack you in the face. You know, I've done stories where I didn't have to do anything. I just walked in and came up. So I aside from finding my wife, who is the Wonder Woman of my life, I got the best part of that deal, and my 2 kids. I've done what I can do, and it's what I'm a little worried about. And a friend of mine was talking about it on the phone. I have to take all this and pass it off to somebody.